can die in seconds. Pop, pop, more shots than a diabetic. Pathetic. Lay on the ground, saying the sound to get an AK to your crown. Does it look like I'm playing around, spraying around with they I'm laying them down. Just like that, fight back, and end up begging for your life, chat. So run when you got the chance, cause this time, Bank ain't Watson now. Don't hesitate, I'll decimate. It ain't nothing to push a button to detonate. Spit fire and trip wire, you get blew up. Let's go, shoot up. South Hall 2-0. Shoot up. You only
kill me every time. You kill me every time. You kill me every time. never dance again. Guess you'll never dance again. I guess you'll never dance again. Guess you'll never dance again. I guess you'll never dance again.
still going on. Lots of players are with us this morning. Good morning, gents. How you doing?
Not bad, Paul. Pretty good, man.
We've always done things a little upside down in Australia. We get confused.
Yeah. November and January.
Yeah, why not?
Very, very, I like it a lot.
Inspired by...
I'm kind of jealous.
Oh, thank you. A big shout out to Purge, because inspired by him, you know, I feel like every man has the right to wear a disgusting, filthy mustache.
Let's talk about, before we get to the teams and everything else about this again, the tournament structure is quite interesting for me, the format.
Yeah.
We've got 16 teams, 2-8 sets a group. That's a little bit different, and there's also a dual tournament inside the groups itself. 6 qualifiers through to the playoffs as well. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think the groups are really interesting, really balanced this time around. We'll talk about that as we go through that. I really like the structure. I almost told them when they told me about the format that we should find something other to call it other than group phase, because we're used to watching these Dota tournaments where the group phase is maybe not so significant. We're sending 10 of the 16 teams home after these groups.
Yeah, absolutely. Secret VP, that probably number 1, number 2 seeds in this group. I mean, looking at the tournament as a whole, 2 of the kind of big 3 favorites. I think everyone kind of puts Secret, VP, and Liquid on a pedestal right now. These are the teams to beat. If you upset them, it means you've done incredibly well, and you are suddenly a breakout team at an event. So those are definitely the 2 teams to look for.
Yeah. Yeah, I think both of the 2 groups, when you look at, there's a clear top team. There's a number 2 team that's pretty safe, but with maybe a little question mark. And then number 3 is more open. In Group A that we're still looking at right now, I really do like Vici Gaming as my number 3 team in Group A. I think that there are a couple hero combos that they're running right now that other teams have just had no answer. When they're drafting around 11's Omni or Tidehunter, or where they're drafting around Lanham's ET, other teams have just had a really hard time dealing with it. And then Group B, I think it's kind of similar. Liquid, pretty safe pick. The number 2 position, Newbies, a little more of a question mark, but still very solid. And then number 3 in Group B, I think, is wide open.
Yeah, it's been an odd season as well, hasn't it, in terms of DPC points. This is obviously another one of those. I think we're at round 10 now, so we're fast approaching halfway.
Yeah, and
that's gone quick, isn't it?
Oh, no.
We kind of already have a few teams who are pretty established, very likely to beat TI, even though in theory they could be overtaken. But you know these are teams that are going to continue to rack up points. Yeah. We're going to see Liquid, VP, Secret get top 4 at some of these majors and minors. Maybe they get upset and don't do it to everyone, but they're going to keep getting points, and I don't see these teams not being a TI.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget as well, if you want to join us in terms of social media, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us who you think the favourites are for ESL One, using all the usual ESL channels, using the hashtag ESL One on Twitter as well. Let us know what you think about the format too. We'd love to hear from your thoughts on what it is, but give it a chance. Like, leave it until like day 3, right? So you've seen how it all pans out and how it works out. And then if your favourite team are out, then you can moan about the format. That's how it works, right?
Absolutely.
And then if they go through, you can be like, brilliant format, love the format. Format's great, what are you on about?
A little revisionist history never hurt anybody, right?
I think that's how it works. We talked a little bit about Group A already. Yeah. Let's talk about Group B in more depth. As you've said, it has a couple of outstanding... Do you feel like the 2 groups in a way are very balanced, but actually there are 2 clear favourites in both groups, and then the 3rd place may be what the rest of the teams are fighting for the scraps?
Yeah, I think when you look at Group B, Newbie's a little bit of a bigger question mark to me than Virtus Pro, because a Newbie, I feel for a while, if Kaka has a good tournament, that team is really hard to beat, but if he doesn't, they're very vulnerable. And I don't think the 3rd place team here is quite as close. Mineski and EG are both teams that I feel like they have the talent on those rosters to make some noise, to earn those DPC points throughout the season. Yeah. But Mineski's recent form has looked pretty uneven, and EG, we just don't know what they're going to be running in terms of that roster right now.
So basically, if Kaka gets Sand King, then they'll do all right.
I mean, if Kaka's on Sand King or Earth Spirit, they're probably good. Yeah.
Okay. The crazy thing is those 4 middle teams there all have DPC points. They all have at times looked like world-class teams. And then you have the other group where I feel like the bottom of the pack is maybe a bit more unknown, questionable. You've got 3 teams in Penta, Planet Dog, as well as SG Esports, who haven't made waves at all throughout the year. And that's where Group B as a whole looks a lot stronger, because down to the bottom, you're like, wow, even that 8th team in Group B is going to be a world-class team. Yeah,
I mean, that's the... We said at the start of the show, it's a very competitive tournament. We almost feel like it's a major in many ways. 16 teams. I think of the teams that we've got here, only OG are missing from the top 10 teams on the DPC chart right now. So this will give us a good indicator, good early indicator at the start of the year as to where teams are, won't it?
Yeah, and just because of where it falls, I always mentally divide the Dota season into thirds, and I think this is the first sort of mile marker in the second third of the season where you really start to learn about the team's path to TI, how they're going to improve, how they're going to get better, because that's the key thing to me. And this is also the first tournament, the first standard format tournament with teams of this quality that we're going to have seen in 7.07D.
Yeah, we'll get to talk about player movements, because there's been a few of those in January already in the player window. But there's one that stands out, and that's Misery to EG, because he's the guy that can repeat here this year. There's no one else left.
Yeah, I mean, Genting last year, DC taking the finals in a great 3-2 against Newbie. Misery, his new EG squad looks promising. They have obviously a ton of star power, and it feels like not just Misery being brought in, but Bulba as coach has brought in a focus on the strategic side, the kind of mentality of the team. They realize, you know, we've got all the stars, we've got the piece of the puzzle. They got rid of one of their star players in the universe, world-class player, no one's going to deny that, but they felt like they needed someone who could direct the team and take them somewhere else.
Yeah, okay. We're going to get into our first match very shortly. So let's preview our opening match of Group A. It is Planet Dog versus Team Secret. You can see on the schedule right now on your screen. We've got VG.J versus Vici as well. What a great matchup that particular match is. Navi, EG, and LFY versus Newbie to come. All best of ones in the first round, and then we'll move on to the best of threes. We'll give you 2 of those later on today. So plenty of Dota 2 action coming on day number 1 here from ESL One Genting. As I said, we'll get into our first game very shortly. Let's talk about Planet Dog. Great name, I have to say. It's a little bit out there, and they could have fulfilled a bit of a small fantasy for me during the European qualifiers by playing Team Doggy. So it would have been Doggy versus Dog.
You're really into this, Paul.
Yeah, I love it. Really get far too carried away with the names. But joking aside, they've qualified from a region which is still relatively competitive, but I feel like it might have been easier for them. They've got a lot of CIS players in this team. It's a very mixed team, of course. You've got, I think, a Belarusian, a Ukrainian, a Russian, a Serbian, and a Bosnian in this team. So a very eclectic mix of players. Doesn't usually work in that region. This seems to be okay, though.
So the Tier 2 European scene looks dramatically better to me right now than at any point in the last couple of years. I think it's gotten a lot better. This team, though, is a bit of a question mark. They've lost 2 players from the roster that actually beat Kingwin to qualify for this event. They lost Kaiser, their mid, to Team World, and 33, their offlaner, to Optic. They're bringing in Boranija as their mid, who's pretty much a complete unknown, but they're bringing in Mag as their offlaner, he's one of the just unsung heroes of Dota 2 for a very long time. He's actually the only player in Pro Dota 2 that has 90 or more wins on 3 different heroes. His Clockwork, his Darkseer, and his Batrider. Really great player.
Which in sporting terms would make him a journeyman, wouldn't it? Because he hasn't really done, I mean, all due respect to him, he's not really done it.
I think that's testament to how many games he's had to play, how many qualifiers he's been in, by just sheerly going through and being there from day 1 of Dota, and very much been on some top teams, then kind of fell off. Was never a star player. He never really stood out or carried those teams. He's always been like a stable rock on some of them, but he does feel like he and his teammates have a lot to prove at this event.
Their opponents are Team Secret, which I don't know how you feel about it. When it comes to best team of 2017, I think we probably lean more towards Liquid. But if you're looking at the best team so far in DPC, it's these boys, isn't it?
Oh, I don't think it's really even a question. I think Secret had 2 acquisitions, roster moves for them in Ace and Fada that have just worked out perfectly. And it's an example of something I've been saying for a long time, that as more teams are getting better, it's more about how a player fits into what the team wants to do than MMR. And Ace and Fada are just perfect for what Secret wanted to do. They want to build on what Liquid were able to do at TI and sort of refine that a little further. Both of those players, broad hero pools, diversity in play styles, love what they bring to the table.
And Ace it hasn't come from nowhere, because he's had quite a long history in and out of Dota 2. I know he's had some education. He's gone off and come back again and had some rest time and what have you. But he's played for so many teams. Why is it suddenly he's clicked here?
I think a lot of it is Puppy's leadership, because, like you say, he does go way back to the very first, the defense tournaments, which was like some of the first tournaments. He was playing in those with like Danish mixed squads. So he has been around for a long time. He's always been kind of a top-tier Danish player, but not someone who's broken out. But it seems like put him on a team with a world-class captain, and then he can shine. Yeah, he's definitely doing that right now. And Fada, I mean, you mentioned him briefly, but he's made a great transition to this team, hasn't he?
He really has. I think, by the way, when we start talking about Puppy, that's something that he needs to get credit for, because now, over the last couple of seasons, he's done this over and over again, taking young players like now like Ace, that have a little bit of a track record, maybe not have had that high level of success with other teams, and bringing them onto the big stage and building them up to have success.
Okay, I'm hearing that the draft is almost ready for us to get into. So let's turn our attention to that in terms of picks and bans and what we might get in this particular draft. Are you expecting anything crazy game one?
So, big question to me going into this is, will Team Secret get and then pick their Bounty Hunter? Bounty Hunter was banned against them first phase in 10 of their 11 games at Dream League Season 8, which is the last big lane they played, and the 11th game, Liquid left it on the table. They first picked it, and they beat Liquid in 32 minutes. The other question overall in this tournament is, are we going to see Lycan? Our team's going to exploit that. That hero right now in 5K plus pub matches, 62% win rate. There's no other hero above 58, so he's just looked so dominant.
Yeah, we're seeing bans on Clockwork, Chen, some of the more of the supporting cast. I think there's a very clearly defined 4-position meta with Clockwork, Tusk,
so let's turn our attention to that in terms of picks and bans and what we might get in this particular draft. Are you expecting anything crazy game one?
So, big question to me going into this is, will Team Secret get and then pick their Bounty Hunter? Bounty Hunter was banned against them first phase in 10 of their 11 games at Dream League Season 8, which is the last big lane they played, and the 11th game, Liquid left it on the table. They first picked it, and they beat Liquid in 32 minutes. The other question overall in this tournament is, are we going to see Lycan? Our team's going to exploit that. That hero right now in 5K plus pub matches, 62% win rate. There's no other hero above 58, so he's just looked so dominant.
Yeah, we're seeing bans on Clockwork, Chen, some of the more of the supporting cast. I think there's a very clearly defined 4-position meta with Clockwork, Tusk, Elder Titan's made a few kind of recent surges as well. Chen is definitely a targeted ban against teams who play Chen. It seems like no one has a good answer to deal with this early 15-20 minute push strats that are coming out from kind of the Chen specialists.
Yeah, I think the Chen ban is definitely targeted. I mean, Secret has 2 world-class Chen players, Puppy and Yapsor.
Yep.
I think that we're going to find out a lot based on whether this third ban from Dog is Bounty Hunter, and then whether Secret will take it.
I think what we're starting to see more is that teams are starting to understand on this new patch which are the cores that are going to be meta defining, because we're seeing, it used to always be you pick your 4 position, your 5 position first 2. The shift is now being to pick more core heroes in the first stage with a support. There's been a lot of first pick Tinies, there's been a lot of first pick Lycans, Razors have come out in the first 2. It really feels like there are certain cores that are now being established as first 2 pick worthy.
Yeah, and the common denominator, so I was looking at this trying to characterize, there's the first pick Tiny, as Scott said, and the common denominator here is teams have started picking cores in the first phase that are pushing cores. It's like, okay, if I can show that aggression, pushing picks right now in this meta, it's almost like poker. If I can pick a core in the first phase that is going to have that big pushing threat and that's going to force the other team to respond, that becomes easier, because it's then less about them giving them the opportunity to counter that particular hero and forcing the other team to respond to what could be a very strong pushing lineup. There's the Bounty Hunter from Secret.
Secret Bounty. I think
6-0 in this patch.
Yeah. The other big thing with first 2 picking cores is strong lanes. You don't want to. You can't pick a core in the first 2 that is going to get counterpicked or outlaned. Hero like Tiny doesn't really have any bad lane matchups. Razor perhaps one of them. I'm not sure these heroes necessarily go head to head. If you're Planet Dog, you're looking to avoid that. But Razor, same thing. Not a core that is typically counterpicked. It does lead to responses where you make sure you lane something against it that's not going to get crushed by it. But Razor's never going to have a bad lane.
Razor, though, not necessarily among the more successful heroes. I believe he's down to the mid-40s in win percent over the entire patch, and he's a safe hero for a lot of teams, but he's actually not that great a pushing hero in a lot of ways.
Good ace hero, though.
Very good ace hero, and they've also, it's also one of the few things, Secret relative to a lot of the other top teams, they don't have that many flex picks. Razor works as a sort of flex pick. It's usually going to be ace, but they can run mid one on that hero.
Yeah. ET picked up. I was going to say this is generally, I think, a 4 position. You've seen the Bounty Hunter. You know what that opposing roam is going to be. Get the ET or the Tusk here. The ET is going to be the hero of choice. This has had a very high win rate and a lot of success in Pro Dota, and kind of been an emerging 4 position just because it's got great setup. He's got great team fight. Also stops, kind of acts as a pseudo counter to a lot of the big late game carries we're seeing getting picked up in the second stage because of his aura.
You'd expect it to be a contested hero in this matchup as well. They both play it, both running Yapsor plays it as well. So it's got a real. It was always going to be contested, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's Elder Titan since D hit 7.07D about 30 days ago. He's almost a 60% win rate. The only hero higher that's been picked regularly has been the Terrorblade.
See what they want to go next. Yeah, I think one of the big heroes that is going to be very prevalent this tournament is going to be Brood. That it seems even without the invis and the webs and all that, the pathing, the way this hero can scale, if you can find the way to fit in a good Brood pick, what team's that, guys? They're playing right now in the other series. Neither Team Planet Dog nor Team Secret.
That's complexity. Hi, boys.
Hey, guys.
I'm hoping that Chessie's feeling better. I'm hearing that he's had a touch of food poisoning over the last couple of days. I'm hoping that he's feeling better. He hasn't been out of practice either, so I'm not sure they're going to be in the best of minds first thing in the morning, but good luck to them. They're playing in the other matchup over on the other stream, hopefully, right now. Back with Team Secret right now, and Puppy leading the way as ever in the middle.
Yep. Some support bands, Disruptor, Witch Doctor. We'll see which kind of 5 positions come out. For Secret, the bounty is normally Puppies here, so that means Yapsor
is already out, isn't it?
Yeah, in a sense, but it does affect which heroes you want Yapsor on sometimes, because Bounty Hunter is more of a roamer than like a lane secure, so often you'll see a 4 position for Yapsor that can perhaps secure lanes a bit better. Sometimes Rubik pairs with the Bounty Hunter. Sometimes you see like these Slaughter-esque heroes that can also just go to the safe lane if they need to, or go help out the off lane and secure that lane.
He's played an awful lot of Rubik recently as well. Easily his most played for.
But this is one of his other ones that's gotten a lot better recently, his Earth Spirit. I quite like him on this hero. It gives them that long-range initiation potential. Basically, Earth Spirit is a really good... He gives you a lot of stuff that Bounty Hunter lacks. He gives you that team fight presence as a support.
You feel like he's a Javax, he's a crit-style Spirit player, though he's not really at that point yet, is he?
I wouldn't put him quite on that level.
I mean, that's a pretty world-class kind of couple of units, isn't it?
Yeah,
but still.
But I think that Yapsor has... Yapsor is such an asset for Secret because he has so many heroes that he plays at a very high level, and he's somebody that you can put his hero out there in the first 2 or first 3, and you don't worry about as much about it getting countered. I guess we're doing a live look in here to the other series.
Their game is live against Fnatic.
Yeah.
Ogre picked up. That's a new-ish. I mean, some teams are really preferring the Ogre. Maybe something Planet Dog just really like to go to as their 5 position. Something VP have always kind of done a lot with, and very much a similar approach to Secret. You know, that you're going to get 2 melee supports that both roam. We're going to do the same with ET and Ogre, and we're going to see 3 calls on both sides that can be somewhat independent. So the supports are very freed up to be as active as possible.
Yeah, and I think you look on the other side, and the other thing that I worry about a lot with my support picks in this meta is I don't want to pick 2 supports that are going to put me at a big wave clear disadvantage, but Bounty Hunter and Earth Spirit they're not wave clearing heroes, so you can get away with the Ogre a little bit better.
So the Tides will go to Fada. Again, he's most played as well, so they're really going for comfort in this first game.
So we're often here in Planet Dog shoes, you want to get a lane dominant against Tide. This is not probably for the Tide. I'm wondering where this Ench is going to be headed.
I hope this is the offlane Enchantress.
Yeah.
Mag's very good on
it's going to be, I was going to say, it's got to be Mags.
It has to be a core with the Ogre and Elder Titan pick. I guess we've seen some offlane ET, so...
Yeah. Mag's an Enchantress player, so that wouldn't surprise me.
I'm not like a counter to the Razor lane by any means, but definitely a hero that can actually go to the lane. You can not get completely destroyed with the points and untouchable. You can grab a creep if you want to as well, and really apply pressure. And you've got good roaming support, so I think that's where Enchantress really shines. If you can get 1 point in the enchant, so you can get a couple creeps, and then you have supports roam in, dive towers with creeps tanking it, and get kills on a hero like Razor, who is very susceptible to being ganked.
Yeah, and he does. I like that. I like that analysis a lot, and it's also a style of where if she does end up in a lane against a Tidehunter, right? Tidehunter has become so big because with the removal of Poor Man's Shield from the game, Kraken Shell is now the king of early game damage mitigation. But the Enchantress, I mean, she could come to lanes and just push a lane and just kill Tide's tower. You don't have to kill the hero himself. You just put damage on his tower.
I think that's something, speaking of pushing towers, both teams lack right now, so they don't actually have
That's
that
really surprising.
big carry pushing hero, which is likely to come from mid laners, I guess, now. I guess Planet Dog could put Tiny either lane, which is nice. Same for Secret with Razor. So there is flexibility there, but heroes like the Terrorblade we saw of a lot of the recent Galaxy Battles event, those kind of heroes kind of come to mind there.
I don't know about mid one on Terrorblade. That's not a hero that he's played a ton of. I think Terrorblade, the other two heroes that I'd add to the mix that I think make sense for Secret right now, the Shadow Fiend certainly, and maybe even the Templar Assassin. She can struggle a little bit against the Ogre with Ignite, but mid one I believe is undefeated on that hero.
The nice thing for Secret is I feel like neither team has really revealed their strat despite picking 4 of their 5 heroes, because it really is both teams' drafts can be largely defined by their final picks, and Secret, they've got the counter pick. So they can theoretically, if they think TB's the pick, they can put mid one on the Razor in mid and then pick a Terrorblade for Ace in the safe lane or some other carry. So they do have that kind of flexibility having the final counter pick.
Yeah, I was mentioning that earlier, that relative to the other teams, relative to the other top teams right now, Secret actually have surprisingly few flex picks, but Razor is one of those. And in that draft, in this particular draft, that's really important.
So Planet Dog, I think you just need to get something that is going to be pretty stable, lane secure. I guess you are thinking about pushing as well here, but...
So, Boranesia, very, very new, but he did have 3 pretty good games on Mirana recently.
Oh, yeah.
He had 30, 10, and 36, I believe, over 3 games on Mirana. I think that pick sort of makes sense.
Yeah, one of those heroes that always feels like, oh, it's okay, you can pick Mirana. It just... Core Mirana is always underwhelming, but yeah, against a Razor, it sounds decent too, because you're not worried about a static link if it's that 1v1 matchup. But see what other kind of... I think you just need something more explosive here, which is kind of what I'm looking at, like the Shadow Fiends, the TAs, but Mirana will come out. So going for what's going to be comfortable for them and a staple.
You know, I mean, I think when you're talking about a player like Boranesia, he's basically completely new to the competitive scene. This is his first lane event. I think it's important to go with a hero that he's comfortable with.
Yeah. This is a great Ember game. Not that Ember's really a hero right now, but if there's anyone to make it work, it's mid one.
Wow, quiet.
See, I'd like to see them go with something like an SF that could just really punish them.
Yeah,
like mid one is, I think right now with Sumail changing roles, I think mid one is the most punishing laner. Right? I mean, you always have to mention CTY.
Yeah, I would say like someone like No One is perhaps a bit like No One in Sumail always had like 1-2, but mid one's kind of up there.
See, okay, this
that's
is
not a punishing laner.
Well, you say that, but mid one has actually had games. He had a DK game where he dumpstered Navy's Queen of Pain.
Yeah, he can dumpster Mirana, but he's not going to get kills in that. It's like punishing in the sense, like, yeah, you're not going to be playing. You can't play aggressive and dive towers as DK, but yeah, you do win a lane against Mirana. That's a favorable matchup.
And the most important thing is that as we were talking about the lineups, is that DK gives Secret the pushing power. That was the one biggest missing piece from the draft.
And saying Mirana, I feel like doesn't give a whole lot for Planet Dog.
We're not going to do predictions. Instead, we're going to do it slightly differently. How about you give me your thoughts on whether Planet Dog can win this game?
I think Secret are pretty heavy favorites in this game. I think for Planet Dog to win this game, that Mirana needs to get off to an extremely good start mid. They need to honestly, Planet Dog can win this game by taking two early tier 1 towers. Let's put it that way.
Okay, Gods?
I think it's tough. Draft did not help them. I mean, it's Dota. Anyone can win a game, but I think with this draft, it's going to be very unlikely.
Two tier 1s before 10 minutes.
Some fence sitting from our panel members, I think. There.
I don't think they will.
Fine. All right. The confidence is not strong in the Dog this time around. But let's see how they get on in their matchup against Team Secret, and we'll head over to your commentators for game number 1.
And I don't think you'll find a whole lot more optimism here for Dog on this side of the panel either, at least not from me. I'm not really feeling the Mirana. I think the last time that I saw Mirana was watching Planet Dog, but then the only other time was Optic. And from what is that, talking to CCNC about the time they did pick Mirana, they were like, we just wanted a hero to survive. And that, for me, is the only reason you would ever pick a Mirana, is that it's just a hero that's hard to gank mid. Why do they pick Mirana?
I kind of like it. It's mobile. It can't really die.
Okay.
Like, once it gets a BKB, I think once BKBs hop up on the map, Planet Dog will be okay.
You think so?
I'm going with the dog.
No, because you were like, your last predictions were actually much different from, it was like almost night and day from what you were thinking about. Like Tinker, you were thinking with those sort of like bigger late game heroes that were kind of deterred against team fighting. But instead they went the opposite and chose like the aggressive mid.
I thought that Secret was going to pick something that could just split the map.
Yeah.
And so that's where the advent of heroes like Tinker come in. Because if you think about conceptually heroes like Terrorblade, what does Terrorblade do? He shoves out the side lanes using illusions. Like that's what he does best. You don't ever have to participate in fights. You just you use your illusions to put pressure on the map at all times. And what Tinker does best is for 0 cost at all times, he'll keep those waves pushed back into you. And so that's where I thought they'd kind of go in that direction. Because I felt like Secret needed something to shove in the waves pretty aggressively.
But instead they take a little bit more direct approach at the game and actually just pick up the Dragon Knight, run a hero that's not going to be focusing so much on split pushing or wave clearing, but really on pushing towers. Vici is going to be caught out here by a Secret rotation. The early pickup here of the Bounty Hunter and Earth Spirit is going to be able to do a lot of damage to Vici, but it will survive and will secure them that top bounty rune.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think for Secret, like the way that you play into this is you can just run at them non-stop.
Okay.
Because when you have heroes like Razor and Tidehunter, there's 2 ways that you go with it. Either you just overwhelming team fight and try to end the game, or you take a mid that's a little bit more greedy and you can play something like a 4 protect 1 style, which is something that we see more often with them when they have, especially with Ace, than they did in the past with their other players.
We already see the dual lane unfolding in the mid lane. The Ogre definitely needs to help out a little bit, right? Because I can't imagine the Dragon Knight versus Mirana matchup is very fun for the Mirana, who already has like relatively low base damage, and it's going to be even worse against the Breeze Fire.
Dude, I have not seen Mirana in such a long time.
Yeah. J4 is hoping to be able to secure that lane. Now, we do have a safe lane out there, a Tidehunter, and we are going to be able to have the aggressive push out from Secret in their tri-lane with Ace, the Razor, going up against Mags and Chantress. They are going to be able to get a nice roll in. They already have the extra damage onto the Razor, so they can just body block for a good amount of time. They can get a lot of damage onto Mag. They're actually going to try and go for the kill. The Q is just enough to be able to finish him off, and Ace will end up being able to pick up that first blow.
Electric.
And mid one, getting dual lane, doesn't really care about it though. That's the benefit of having heroes like Dragon Knight, is that you don't really care about these dual lanes, because once you pick up level 3, you have enough HP. You get the stick as well for the 1 HP regen, you're fine.
So it's about time that J4 kind of needs to cycle out then, just because he's no longer going to be that effective.
Yeah, at the same time, I'm not sure where he's supposed to go. If he goes bottom, I don't know if Otta cares too much. And at the same time, like Diyara, this is a pretty free lane for him. I think I've seen this before. Like Tiny is one of the few heroes that has kill potential at all times on the Tidehunter, so he doesn't really care about that either.
Yeah. You just get like so much harassment damage from tree cleave.
I'm not sure if they kill anybody at top either. Like, this is such a weird meta though, where everyone just goes to the off lane if you're the one position nowadays.
Yeah.
Dude, YapzOr.
Milan is very close to being able to pick up this kill. He does have the Spirit and Stomp, but does not try and go for it. Now he's going to be caught by YapzOr. The turnaround, they managed to get off the Stomp. Oh, sure, can actually stop that one. Good play there from Puppey. Interruption, and they will manage to pick up another kill. Secret already up 2-0. They're going to make a go here onto mid one. They managed to land the Fire Blast into the arrow here with the double damage. They're actually doing a good amount of work here onto mid one. Thinking about going for the dive. They do have leap charges, but Mirana by himself is never going to do enough damage to bring down that Dragon.
Once you right-clicked him, I actually didn't see the bar move at all.
It was just like that time where the right click was, that arrow was heading towards the Dragonite. He probably regened up more than the damage
was
was done.
Nothing happened. I was really surprised at that. I was like, oh, well, maybe if he hits him like twice here, he can just leap in and go. Okay. Nothing, the bar did not move. That's scary, dude, when you see that.
Yeah.
The bar did not move.
So you said you've seen this before. Kraken Shell has no effect against that cleave, right?
Yeah, you don't really.
That's got to be a huge advantage.
It's one of those matchups where I'm always surprised because Tidehunter is usually very successful.
Yeah.
Against pretty much every melee hero, aside from maybe like heroes like Axe.
Yeah, I've tried this a couple times. One of the big problems is that your damage reduction, not just from the Kraken shell, is negated, but even your Anchor Smash has a hard time because Tiny's always going to be able to get a swing in before you get close enough to Anchor Smash him. So you're just getting a lot of free harassment damage a lot of the time.
At the same time, Bot is doing fine.
Yeah.
Like he is doing really good in this lane, yeah. This is the benefit of having the lane always push into you, and the fact that you can always contest, and you can always scare them by pushing into the side. But Ancient stacks, try to get the triple. Don't think you got either of those stacks. The ET Spirit, unfortunately.
Yeah, always when you try and like stretch yourself a little bit too thin and stacking, they are going to try and go for this combination again. Warrior's going to be able to land the arrow, follow up with the Star Storm. A good amount of damage there, and the Breathe Fire actually misses on Boros, so he's going to be able to keep up this damage onto mid-1. They're going to leap in and commit this time around, but the air's going to be a TP, and nice hit through the tree there by mid-1. He's going to be able to get off the healing salve, and that means J4 will end up dying for the dive. On to mid-1, 3-0 now for Secret.
Yeah, and if you can't magic burst them, like we're seeing right now, the Mirana's right clicks are so bad that it's just not having enough impact.
Yeah.
They stunned him for like the full 4 seconds, and they weren't able to bring him down.
And he's even going the just kind of like pure right-click build straight into the Ring of Aquila just to try and buff up her lackluster damage, and it's still not making a difference.
Yeah. And this is a better game than we normally see out of Fada, because Fada's kind of pioneered the style where, I don't want to say like pioneered, but he has a style where he simply just like runs at you, and if he dies, he doesn't really care, because normally he plays these heroes that, at minimum, it takes 2 heroes to kill him at all times. And so when you have this kind of commitment, Secret feels really good, because it alleviates the pressure from your 2 cores. That's the benefit of having like star players in the 1 and 2 roles, is you can play this kind of style where you die like 5 times in a game and you look really bad, but you draw enough attention to yourself in the early game that it doesn't really matter. Because nowadays in Dota, it feels like these early game commitments don't mean as much as when the game progresses, right?
Yeah.
Like these 5 early game pickoffs don't mean anything compared to this like 1 late game pickoff that you get.
Elder Titan and Ogre. This time they're going to bring that extra support to try and get the kill, but at the same time they are trying to roll in on Mag. He's already got the heal loss, so no chance they can get that kill. They managed to land the stomp into the arrow. Good combination with the Starstorm. This time around it will be enough to be able to bring down mid-1. He's going to live a little bit longer with the magic wand, but they will beat him down to a pulp. Finally, it's going to be Planet Dog 2.0. Got their first kill of the game. Looks like Fada is actually going to try and get some damage onto Digirock here. With a Ravage, they might just be able to bring him down. They've already blown 1 stun. They do have the Shuriken to make sure that Digirock can't just TP out, but it looks like he may just be healthy enough to walk away from this one. So maybe a little bit of a premature Ravage there being used on a kill that simply wasn't really going to happen.
Yeah. At the same time, I don't know if they care too much. Like, you would care about this if your other lanes were going very poorly, but like look at this DK. He's still winning in CS. Really dominantly too. He's up like 12 CS.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Bora still isn't ahead in net worth.
Yeah.
Compared to that Dragon Knight.
The reason though you go for that kind of timing gank is A, is like you want to help him out, but B, it's because the catapult timing of it as well. Most times like Dragon Knight will come in, and so you anticipate like either a 2-on-3, and so you bring both your supports this time around to try to stop that, so DK can't just pop his Dragon Form and push in with the wave and get like a free 300-400 damage on the mid tower, because then by the time your next Dragon Form comes up, if the Mirana is shoved out of the wave, it's really easy for him to take that tower. And we've talked about the importance of the mid tower pretty much every cast, and the reason for it is just because it controls so much of the map. Like, it's the opening to your jungle, and if you stack all these camps for this tiny, and you can't protect your mid tower, then it creates a liability where Secret can just run in with their DK level 2 Dragon Form. He'll cleave them all himself.
Oh, they have a sneaking suspicion that Puppey is lingering around. They pop the Divine Shield up on that Courier. They will finish up Phase Boots on Mag. That'll really help out against this Razor lane. Enchantress is already a very naturally fast hero, but with Phase Boots should be able to keep ahead of the Razor when he goes for the static link.
It's great against DK too. Like, you just eat through him. Yeah. I think that Dog's lineup is... I think that Secret, of course, is like top 3 team in the world, so...
But you think the draft is actually even?
I don't know if it's even, but I think it's a winnable draft for Dog. I didn't think it was as bad as it was made out to be.
8 minute battle rune. Fada will walk away from that one. Another one picked up for Digirock with his bottle build.
At the same time, if I see a way that they lose, it's their lack of control. When you play against Bounty Hunter lineups, of course, like the very easy way to think about it is that everyone on the enemy team moves very quickly, right?
Yeah.
And so generally, you just need heroes with heavy lockdown to be able to
heavy
do so.
stuns.
But if you look at Planet Dog's lineup, like their 4 and their 5 positions, there's some team fight on their side, but only one of their cores really has any reasonable lockdown. Like you can't really rely on Arrow heavily.
So we're just pretty much relying on the Tiny to really give us those good opportunities.
Yeah.
Ace is going to actually make a rotation down here to bottom lane. I didn't see that one coming, so it looks like they're going to try to set up this kill with a second Ravage that's up. Kill Ditchy Raw, make sure that he doesn't get that early Shadow Blade.
So he does have Ravage up again, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by the
That's
first one
another,
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
it's like early Ravage is like, most of the time we're not using Ravage very effectively in the first 10 minutes of the game.
It really only matters when your lanes are going really poorly.
Yeah.
Because if your lanes are going really poorly, then the
You have
first
to
Ravage,
recover in some way, right?
But it doesn't. I mean, it refreshes so fast. It also matters when, if you're a Tidehunter, I guess I should elaborate. It matters when a Tidehunter is very underleveled and you hit your level 6 timing so late, like you get it at like 10 minutes. Then of course it matters quite a bit because your first Ravage of the game just comes a lot later. Whereas like he was level 6 in 6 minutes. He doesn't care.
Combo stuns onto the Yellow Titan. That roll is definitely going to miss from Yapzor, and he may be in big time trouble because it's going to be Confident Spirit, and Bora is going to be able to capitalize on that one. Should be able to pick up the kill pretty easily. Second kill on the board for Planet Dog as they start moving their heroes around a whole lot, and it actually works out to Ditchy Raw's favor as well because he managed to dodge that attempted setup from Ace down in that bottom lane that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Courier coming in once again though. Puppy though, not in.
Yeah, Puppy's struggling to find these courier pickoffs.
Yeah, both supports haven't had the kind of impact. Like combined, they've got like 6 CS. And ET's even above that.
Oh! Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Yapzor in the trees, roll away. It's gonna be good. They are gonna go for this push anyway, though.
That was you like never see anyone die like that.
Yeah, just a straight up breathe fire. He was right on the edge, and it was barely enough damage.
The Dota math was wrong.
Yeah.
That's a real feels bad man death. Because you know you're
Easily avoided.
Yeah, people helped you out. You lost your tower too.
Yeah.
This is exactly what they wanted to avoid. Because now all the stacks are open for Secret to contest, and they can contest it. They've got a Tide that can just run in. They have 3 really tanky cores. They've got really beefy cores that just run in. Like, what is Planet Dog supposed to do? We already talked about how their team fight was a little bit inferior in the early game, and now you run into this particular issue.
And they just tried a wraparound onto a tower.
Yeah.
Couldn't actually take it. And the next Dragonite form, as well as Ravage, is up. So you expect Secret to take yet another tier 1 tower.
That's why I was if you, for example, like if they have a hero like DK, of course it was reversed, right?
Yeah.
Planet Dog picked the hero first, but if you're playing against a hero like DK, often you want heroes that can spam back so that you don't just immediately lose your tower. Like you take heroes like the Deucer or the Tinker, so that DK can't just breathe fire you repeatedly, shove in your wave, then take the tower. Like that's why Soul Ring is so big on that hero, because it's 0 cost for you nowadays because of your high HP regen, right?
Yeah. Ace gonna have some issues here. He's actually gonna go ahead and pop the ultimate in turn, making sure he's got the static link on the mag, taking away some of that damage, and also dodging the Spirit Stomp there.
Look, they just don't have they don't really have lockdown. Like they're heavily reliant on.
And these heroes are so tanky. Their burst damage, it feels like it's just not going to be enough. When Tiny finally does come online with this combination, I'm struggling to see him actually being able to one-shot any of these cores.
Yeah, that's why you see Fada gets the jumps and J4 gonna get gone off. Mid one pops the Dragon form, gonna get the stun off. The roll was used, but kicking a few right clicks should be able to do this, and now they're gonna grab the top tower.
As a result, Planet Dog need to be able to put some pressure somewhere else. They kind of had to see one of these pushes coming. It's a Dragonite lineup after all with the Razor and the Tidehunter. They're going to bully you pretty heavily. He actually went for the early Blink Dagger? Did I see him just resell it?
No, he got, pretty sure he picked it up.
Is this a Blink Dagger game for you over the Shadow Blade? Do you think he needs to have that immediate impact?
I think he needs to be pretty aggressive on the map.
Yeah.
Oh, he did sell it. So he wants to run bottom and bite in the side shop. That's what that tells me. And they want to go for this kill on this Razor. So the question is, like, does Ace see this? And more importantly, if Ace does see this, like, do you rotate the Tidehunter? Because if I'm Secret and I want to defend this tower, then you need your Tidehunter there. Because there's no way that you can burst that hero. And if you overcommit to him and he gets the Ravage off, then your entire team gets turned. So,
and if you are Secret, don't you want to defend these towers?
Yeah, I think
simply
so.
Because you're so far ahead.
Like, look at this right now. So he does buy it on the side shop, but Secret is aware of this. So now they're just sending a Fada to run in, and he doesn't care.
They're going to find multiple pickoffs here. Milan, he's going to have his stomp canceled once again by the Shuriken. They're going to be able to catch him pretty easily, as well as the Ochre. And this is actually may lead into a level 6 for Puppey as well. Fortunately, Moonlight Shadow does actually manage to save Milan. He's looking to be able to still catch Puppey here, and Digi Rocket's on top of him with the combination. We are going to be able to have our first kill of the Blink Dagger Tiny. But still, that was not what Planet Dog wanted out of that. They wanted a rotation that allowed them to take a fight, get a pick off, take a tower. Secret, they just seem to have a very solid, easy read of the game.
Yes, like what Planet Dog wanted to do was they wanted to take that bottom fight, buy the Blink Dagger, hope that Ace stays, immediately burst him, and then just roll a tower. So you need to get map control back. And I think Secret saw the stack. Like, I'd like them to just take this tower and then immediately go steal the stack and challenge Planet Dog. And just say, like, what are you going to do about it? We're taking
the Tidehunter is taking the Ancients with Anchor Smash. Yeah. You have to roll up into a Ravage. Are going to try and catch Milan here. They do successfully grab him with the App Sword. Ace is on top of him as well with a static link. That's easily one fight to even cancel out the team. J4 gets a little bit too close to him. He's going to be a second victim to this push from Secret. And they say, well, heck, I'm just taking 2 heroes. Might as well push for the tier 2 as well. Digirock comes in from behind. Tries to take out App Sword. Not quite enough. Managed to get the cake to actually manage to help out with the kill on the mag. And still gets the roll away. Trying to find the Tiny. Fortunately, he did manage to blink out just ahead of that field.
It's pretty disastrous when you can't even kill.
Yeah, support as a Tiny with a Blink Dagger. It's supposed to be. Those are supposed to be your freebies.
And Planet Dog, they're gonna lose a lot of HP on this tower. Secret, they got free kills. Absolutely should not have happened. Like, Secret, that wasn't really a gank, right? They just ran at them.
Yeah.
And Planet Dog should have, I mean, they were well aware that they were there. It wasn't like a surprise.
Planet Dog just seems utterly lost in the game right now. It seems like their timing was just a little bit wrong, right? We had that top tier 1 push by Secret. Normally you want to try and push the opposing safe lane tower. At that time, they were like a good minute and a half behind that.
So they have all 3 tier 1 towers still up. That is pretty rare to see. Because normally the natural progression is if the enemy's taking your tower, you just mirror and take their safe lane tower, like you said.
Yeah.
But because of that, Planet Dog, they don't have any aggressive moves to make. Because at this point in the game, what the tower does is it shoves the wave back into you, right? So for Secret, they don't really have to keep on top of all 3 lanes. So they can just do this 5-man into one area, and if one of their lanes gets contested, they can just send Fada there to act as like a barrier, so that if you overcommit for this hero, he'll just ravage you, everyone will TP, and you all die anyways.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird position for Dog to be in, because when you don't take these early tier 1s, and your team fight isn't superior, then you're kind of just like pigeonholed into one section of the map. And there's a lot of stacks that they can steal.
Yeah.
Like, Fada's just walking in, doesn't really care.
Pump faking the gush over and over to Chira. It's going to get out with the Moonlight Shadow being used. They are also going to go for an aggressive maneuver here into the Radiant jungle, see if they can actually catch someone farming and turn that into a tower push. So they desperately need to get some sort of map control, because we could see earlier Puppey was being pretty merciless and taking even the offlane camps away. Getting warning. Looks like Mac is going to be caught by this rotation from Secret.
Secret is so brutal to play against right now. It's like the last few tournaments I've seen, like their entire team reads the game so well. Like, nobody's getting punished right now on the side of Secret. Like, this is just kind of absurd. The way that they treat the map.
Okay, good read by Dichira.
Very nice read. But like, aside from that moment, Secret, that you can see that Ace is reading all the moves. Like, whenever they want to make that rotation down, they're already on top of that.
They're gonna catch Dichira after getting that kill. He's gonna get a little bit farther, but still the static link stays on him. 11,000 gold lead by 17.5 minutes in. Dominant start here by Secret ESL One Genting. Shadowblade attempted pickoff. This is kind of like the Dragon. I feel it's kind of like Dragonite versus Puck in the same way that the Shadowblade. It's got to be really effective versus that Mirana.
Yeah, she's so afraid to show her face right now. The largest thing is that they devoted 3 heroes to consistently try to gank mid one, and it didn't matter because she died solo and then lost her tower. So it resets so much of the advantage. Yeah, and Mirana is not one of those heroes that can really come back from that sort of deficit very easily. No, it's not easy for her. You can see Secret are just kind of swarming all over that off-lane jungle area. Puppy getting some vision behind mid. They are going to go and roll in onto Bora. Now he's got both J4 and Mag behind him, but it looks like it's not going to make much of a difference. Bora fortunately does get the leap off. And Mag, he's now going to be the one in big time trouble as mid one comes in. Dinchira actually managed to blow up Puppy. That's all he's going to be able to take out of that fight, as now Yapzor and Fada are just going to be able to focus him down. He's not going to have the opportunity to be able to blink away so easily. So Dinchira just gets out whatever damage he can, even chucking the tree at Yapzor as a spiteful move before his death. And that'll be another push. I don't really like talking about item choices because usually it's not very interesting, but I really like the way that Secret itemized. So they build the Silver Edge on mid one so that he's just this monster. He always has kill potential on the Enchanter solo now. The Razor going for the hood so that the tiny, they're just one-to-one countering all the course. Yeah, it's the only hero of the course, right? Like Razor would be kind of the squishiest one that maybe Tiny could kind of threaten, but once he's got that hood, that's just out of question. No, it doesn't care. They just have 3 really uber tanky cores. And a bounty hunter scouting out all of their rotations, so it's not even like you can get an easy 4-man on top of them. Buffy will always get the vision to be able to find the opportunities, such as this kill onto J4. That's going to be a track kill. In return. They need something desperately out of this. Milan is going to be able to catch Buffy here, gets the stomp. And hopefully their kind of vision lasts long enough. Buffy's going to try and juke it through the trees. The Spirit is giving them good vision, though. Puppy was so stuck. Yeah. Yeah, so took the better angle. Puppy's like, alright, well, that's my life. We're going to have a first item Manta for the Mirana, but I don't think that makes any difference. If you are significantly lacking in damage, Manta is not the item to give you that. Yeah. She just doesn't hit hard enough. And she doesn't push hard enough. So you have this hero that can't exactly team fight. When she does get 6 slotted, yeah, she's going to be useful, but Secret plays this suffocating style. It feels like they're everywhere and they're nowhere. Because your lanes are always being consistently shoved in by somebody, it feels as though they don't have to show on the map, and when they do show on the map, you're just losing heroes left and right. And the fact that the 2 support heroes have kill potential on everybody make it so hard to play. Secret's finally okay, we can give up that safe lane tower, we don't want to make that rotation. Now you can be a little bit lazy. Yeah. They are still going to wrap and see if they can catch. Now that they force heroes back to be able to defend, they're going to try and grab some heroes up from Planet Dog inside of their own jungle. They are going to be able to grab Mag. The track coming in with the burst damage that should be almost enough, but fortunately got the heal out, as well as an excellent stomp from our Elder Titan. And Vada still going to try and keep up with him. He can't actually ravage to slow down Mag if he really wants to. Mag, quite the fast hero. Looks like they caught the Mirana. Oh no, that's going to be so bad for them. There goes the Ravage, throws it out. Finally does catch Mag at the backside, with looks like with the burst damage from Yapzor and Vada. Together, they will manage to pick up not just the 1 kill, but a second one, both being tracked up. Dude, they're getting a tier 3 at the same time. They're actually just running in as 2. They're so dominant at this point. Planet Dog, I had so much faith. Did you though? I mean, you gotta make it. You gotta give them some keys to victory, but this is more just how good Secret is. Yeah, they read pretty much every single movement in the game, and that wasn't just with the help of Puppy, right? Ace just consistently outplayed them. Puppy, once again, I think he's their only deaths. I think so too, or at least close to it. 18-7. Already, I think mid one died 1 lane of racks. Yeah. From that 1 gank mid, right?
Toss up in the air, VG.J trying to focus everything they have with the DK. They will manage to bring them down. It took both the Tiny and the Miranda their whole slew of nukes to be able to finally take out one of the cores. Planet Dog still have to fight it out against Ace as well as Fada. Fada is going to be the one trailing behind, limiting the damage coming out from Planet Dog. And if Boris not careful, he's going to overextend himself, but fortunately, we can jump in from VG.J, taking out that Razor, and now Fada, who's not going to be able to do enough damage to really threaten anybody, does manage to get a blink away, though. Highly doubt he managed to escape all this. His Space Moon drums build is nice for all that movement speed, but can't actually stay ahead of all these heroes. 18 to 10. Planet Dog living on a bit of a dream, a bit of a prayer right now. They are 2 lanes of racks down by 23 minutes. Don't think I've ever seen a comeback like that.
Dota's such a funny game. It's like, you scored 18 to 10, and if you're a novice to it, and you didn't see things like the gold, you just think to yourself like, it's not that bad. Like 18 to 10, that's somewhat close, but then you realize like Puppy has 5 of your 10 tests. And Puppy's just chilling, like, look at this.
And he still got far. He's still got
not like this.
Oh my god, the 5-man kick into the silence. YapzOr just completely ruins that Roshan attempt. And now the real damage dealer is here. Mid-one's here to be able to go onto the Enchantress, man, to get the stun out. Good cleave damage as well onto both Milan as well as Mag. Only will be able to pick up the 1 so far, but YapzOr, he wants to kill on Milan. He is going to be able to get the urn charge and make sure that Trackle will go into the coffers. Secret, bit by bit, he will end up dying. VG.J has to make the big play now. He has to get the crazy blink in. He's going to be able to go for the kill on Puppy, but after that, what else are you going to do, VG.J?
At least they made Puppy very
They're trying to tilt the captain.
Vici used to say that. He said, like, if you're going to kill anybody, you might as well try to tilt the captain. But unfortunately, that only works in best of 3s. Like in best of 1s, I'm sure Puppy's...
It's not like Puppy's like, I'm done with this game, GG.
Yeah,
I'm done.
You gotta tilt the captain. You gotta really annoy him so that in the future, you know, he doesn't really want to play the game. But unfortunately for them, like I don't think Puppy cares in the least. They're gonna pick up the W.
They're not getting any breaks out of this one. Bora barely getting out with 20 HP.
At least Mirana will live.
Is he gonna get it? He's really not. He has no more haste. I bet. Yeah, YapzOr's hunting for this kill. You know he is.
Oh, YapzOr,
he wants
rude.
it.
That's just straight up
tier 2s. Or has to hide himself in the trees.
Okay, now he's good.
All right.
They're not even bothering going for ancients, or not ancients. Yeah, normally when you're this far
just
ahead, you hit the shrines. Alright, Cap, so you know, if we want to keep things exciting, how does Planet Duck?
They need different heroes.
They need different heroes.
They need to swap. Remember the Dota command? Swap?
Yeah.
You could swap players?
If they could take it,
they need to swap all 5 players right now.
Mid-one just blinks it, not care.
Ravage on to 3. They're going to be able to combo this with the Shiva, slowing everybody down. Milan tries to get the best off he can, but Mid-one is just sitting on the front lines with BKBs, so not much you can do about that one. They'll leave Mag for last. That is going to be the cherry on top of a winning team fight for Secrets.
They're just getting
closing out the game.
GG as Secret show, at least in this best of 1, there are levels in this game.
Yeah.
That was pretty brutal.
Gotta feel good if you're Secret though.
And that was
your first game of ESL One Genting.
Yeah, that was clean.
You're just like, all right, we came to play. We're not gonna waste any time. And look.
Your transformation, tenacity. up, shoot it. We'll help you pull the trigger. We'll tell you what to say. Just leave it all up to us, and we'll help you make a pay. We'll help you pull the trigger. We'll tell you what to say. Just leave it all up to us, and we'll help you make a pay. Doesn't matter if you disagree. We're making it hand over fist on tragedy. The revolution will be televised, but just the part that we can monetize. That's the way, that's the way. You gotta give them all a show. Get your gun, baby, and shoot it up, shoot it up. Get your gun, baby. Shoot it up, shoot it. Get your gun, baby. And shoot it up, shoot it up. Get your gun, baby. And shoot it up, shoot it. We'll help you pull the trigger. We'll tell you what to say. Just leave it all up to us, and we'll help you make a pay. We'll help you pull the trigger. We'll tell you what to say. Just leave it all up to us, and we'll help you make a pay. What you gonna do? What you gonna say when I wipe the smile right off of your face? 1, 2, 3, 4. I wanna take you down. I wanna take you out. I wanna be the one to break your dignity and allow your empty pride. We'll wrap the hole inside, but you make a beautiful suicide. Don't speak, double think who you push around. You're mistaken if you're thinking that I'll back down. What you gonna do? What you gonna say when I give back all the hate you made? 1, 2, 3, 4. I wanna take you down. I wanna take you out. I wanna be the one to break your dignity and allow your empty pride. We'll wrap the hole inside, but you make a beautiful suicide. I wanna take you down. I wanna take you out. I wanna be the one to break your dignity and allow your empty pride. We'll wrap the hole inside, but you make a beautiful suicide. I wanna take you down. I wanna take you out. I wanna be the one to break your dignity and allow your empty pride. We'll wrap the hole inside, but you make a beautiful suicide. Sinister command of what I want. here. I'm the only one who pulls my strings. I'm the devil, living in the pride. I'm the devil, no one's hands are tied. I'm the devil, damnation dignified. I'm the devil, and it's only me inside. Why would you pretend your will is not your own? Claiming something pushed you there. Don't mean to condescend, but it's you and you alone. You're the architect of your despair. I'm the devil, living in the pride. I'm the devil, no one's hands are tied. I'm the devil, damnation dignified. I'm the devil, and it's only me inside. a cage of the tangible, all you had too long. You poor social cannibal, what's left when you lose the throne? Fear of the same affair, right before the fall. We'll see what's true drum in ice-pick tongue. Shelter here from everyone. And the rivers say that everything's alright. But when we're gone, we'll sleep with satellites.
mid. He wants to get out. He wants to get in your face. He wants to create stuff, right? Well, he can do that as a 3 now.
Yes.
Like a 3 is a really vital part of it. Almost like the 3-4 combo now is the most important in the game, right? Well, you've given him that responsibility. He should shine, right?
Yeah, I do think so.
Yeah, as long as the meta doesn't change in any way, and we don't start, because like the way EG's running it right now is that they're kind of running like two different kind of farming cores. Like one of them will play a little bit more space creative. For example, the PL that they kept picking up, right? Like sometimes they would run that as sort of like the 2 position for fear. And so as long as the meta doesn't change away from that, right? Insumail can still play some scaling type 3 position heroes, like aggressive but still kind of scales. Like this is all fine, well, and good. As long as the meta doesn't turn away from that, and we
just go back to mid when it does.
we start going to like
has to stay aggressive though. I think that's like what we always talk about too. Has to be aggressive heroes.
All right, our draft, as you can see, is underway. We've just got a couple of early bans between VG.J Thunder and Vici Gaming, part of the same household. I guess you could call them sister teams or brother teams, whatever you want to call it. But they are going head to head for a place in the upper bracket in their particular group.
I think we're going to have to get used to seeing very similar bans across most teams, to be honest, in the first 3. I think it's going to be a lot of these supports, just like we mentioned. This Bane, this Omnia's a little different, but
it's going to change up just like very slightly based on like this team playing Elder Titan. Like some of the newer additions, I would say, like some of the supports, like Elder Titan is rising in popularity. Naga Siren is like rising in popularity. I would say. I mean, like, do they play a Kunkka or something like that?
Yeah, ET is definitely one of the ones that's going to be contested quite a lot. We feel from a lot of these teams. Almost all of the 4s are playing ET. So
why are they going to ban it? That's like my favorite hero right now. I mean, sure, people are like, no, I just been spamming that hero, but I just feel like the hero does so so much for you.
I ran into Fog a couple times, and he was spamming that definitely before it was popular, and he was on that train nice and early. He was telling me like ET is super strong, and I agreed with him because he was so obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like ET playing into ET because it's all about team fights right now. Playing against an ET is like super annoying.
See, that's like exactly what it is. Like I'm like, okay, laning phase. This hero, if you abuse like the spirit and stuff, super strong. I don't want to go too much on the hero, but it's all about you get vision. You get vision from your spirit. You're this team fight dominator. So.
Like everyone is used to like an ogre running up and like igniting you and like kind of punching you, but you never feel in danger. And ET rolls up, he's hitting you for 150 damage a hit. You're like, what's happening? What's going on?
All right.
So early Night Stalker for VGJ.
The big supports are banned though. The Tusk, Bane, Naga, and Elder Titan, the ones we were talking about. And then Lycan, an absurd hero that we have been seeing.
I'm surprised they didn't just take that AT.
It's banned.
Oh, it was banned.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, so a little bit of adjustment coming out since like all the others are banned.
Yeah, his third most played is Night Stalker, so not a surprise. He's usually picking from Tusk, ET, and Night Stalker.
I wonder how that hero's. I feel like that hero's kind of like fallen off a bit. People haven't been picking it, but it's also because of the.
Night Stalker has?
Yeah, Night Stalker
it has fallen out of favor, isn't it?
I think it's also because of that fear, right? If you pick Night Stalker, people pick Lycan, and then you're like, oh my god.
He was he was nerfed a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
In D.
I don't know about a
tiny bit, I think,
maybe
from memory.
I really like Night Stalker, and I feel like I feel very ineffective sometimes as the hero. I think it has like really large swings, particularly since we're running so many tanky cores that Night Stalker can't threaten you in that really critical period of time, right? The 4 to 8 minutes and then the 12 to 16 minutes is kind of going into team fight territory.
Yeah.
So you really need to, as a 4 position, be able to do so much in that 4 to 8 minute window where it's darkness, but these cores just don't die to you. It's like a really big problem. Like I can't go up and like gank a Dragon Knight very easily in the mid lane. So I think that's a big part of the problem, and Vici Gaming I think addressed this very well. They're not going to be able to pick up like Puck or something like that because of the Night Stalker, so instead they get a core like Tidehunter who doesn't care about Night Stalker at all, and they also get probably one of the better supports to beat out Tidehunter.
That's one of the approaches people have been doing a lot versus Night Stalker, right? Just like, all right, we see this hero, our lanes, we just have to pick some decently strong lanes and then just some really hard mid-game team fight, and then we group up, and this Night Stalker just becomes extremely useless if they don't split up the map properly.
And do you feel like because it used to always be the argument like, oh, this hero will also snowball into the late game because it has this big vision advantage. But even then, we started seeing Night Stalkers like not going Aghanim Scepters, they started going more right-click builds, and in general, I just feel like the vision is just less effective. I'm not sure what it is about it, but I feel like nighttime vision, maybe it's just the way that teams like just avoid team fights so heavily during nighttime or something, but I just feel like that advantage just isn't there anymore.
It feels like you have to do so much, and yeah, this is I was going to point it out. The 100 in the night attack speed got rescaled, so it's the same as it is later on, but in the first few levels it's a lot weaker. But I feel like a lot of things that happen with the Night Stalker is if you're a 4, a lot of times you want to have someone who can push lanes as a 4 now.
Yeah.
And Night Stalker doesn't do that at all. So he really struggles at that, and then what ends up happening is you struggle to defend your towers. You lose a couple towers. It doesn't really matter if you have darkness for vision, right? Your map gets already limited so much just because of losing that map control.
Which is where you may have to think about like your 5 position being able to give you that kind of wave clear, but I don't think Wyvern is a particularly worthy pickup here.
I think is Shaman being ignored a lot? Because I think versus Tide as well, Hex, you can't dispel Hex with Kraken.
I was going to bring up the Shaman because it's always been quite popular. Even like when China was playing it, no one else was playing it.
Yeah.
But China was still playing it. Now it's become a little bit more popular.
He gives you what you lack from the Night Stalker too. He gives you some more control. The Night Stalker has a silence and a slow, but he doesn't have control at all. This hero gives you both. Gives you late wave push, gives you tower push as well. I think it would be a pretty good option for Thunder.
What about the Razor?
Just a good counter pick to Tidehunter.
Yeah.
Like there is so many ways that you can run Razor against these offlaners. If they're picked up in the first 1-2, you're just like, okay. Like now need to change the lane phase. They do not want to have this matchup, but at the same time, like you're forcing yourself into potential to.
Yeah, he's literally sitting like, they're gonna ban his Elder Titan, they're gonna ban his other hero, and then boom, he picks up his Kunkka. That's like literally what we were talking about before, how they can make those adjustments. But I think what you were mentioning, Cap, is exactly what's going to happen. Vici's going to have to do some musical lanes. They're going to have to just scout the lanes out, get some nice matchups. They don't want this Tide versus Razor. But this is more team fight now for Vici too, and some extra catch as well versus this Night Stalker.
It also means Lanham's played 7 heroes now in the last 3 months.
He didn't play Conquer at all in the last 3 months.
Well, not in the last patch.
In the last patch. Oh, okay.
Got 707C.
Interesting.
I mean, we're in D now, so technically it's whatever, but...
So do they want to grab that support here? That's what my guess would be.
I think you do, because I think you still you need to keep your offlaner out of the pool still.
And hide where Razors.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that could happen.
The Shaman here.
I think the Shaman. It's that or Disruptor, right?
Yeah. Or something crazy like a Bane. I was thinking, but that's gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's still a little questionable just because of the fact that I think Kunkka's pretty good against it, and if you potentially get some sort of aggro situation,
a little bit more normal for AI.
That'll help them get some more team fight. With the Rubik, they know Field's decent versus Kunkka and Tide. And he's good. Of course, he has great steals here, and then he gets the wave clear.
Yeah.
Good versus with Razor too.
Because Rubik's even better with the wave clear, right? Because he can turn on the offensive aura.
Yeah. And if you steal something. Yeah.
How does the bat fit into? No, I can't. Can it? I can't see the bands.
Which one you mean? There's PL Terrorblade, the last 2 by Thunder, and then it's OD Tiny by Vici. So they grab a Luna. This is more group up, take those buildings.
Oh, you know what I really like here is Abaddon.
Ooh, Abaluna.
He deals really well with both Luna and Tide in a teamfight perspective, because you can't really be controlled. You're soaking up a lot of damage. And I think anything that makes the Razor stronger here is just potential game winning.
Oh boy, Deuce of Razor. Is Deuce gonna get enough time in this game though? I think Vici's gonna take a lot of buildings here pretty quickly with this type of lineup.
At the same time, you're not going to be able to, unless it was like maybe Tinker. There's not too many other mids that are going to be able to protect your towers, right? You need a hero that kind of is going to be able to sit in front of these pushes, and you're not going to get it out of your offlaner in this game, not very easily, because the Tide's just kind of like the be-all, end-all of those heroes.
What is Rubik still here for that helps VG.J? With the Rubik,
he can get Ravage, Boat, Cask is decent for fights.
Quite a lot, isn't it? It's quite a lot.
Yeah, this is a pretty solid. Good. This is a pretty solid Rubik game. Yeah. Like Torrent, Lucent Beam, all these like extra nukes, these double nukes. When you can like as a Rubik, when you can do the triple nuke combo, you use both your spells, steal another in a team fight. It actually is a lot of.
I think Brew or bad for VG.J.
It's gone, isn't it?
Is it bad?
No, it's not.
My eyesight's terrible.
That's okay.
Don't worry, you don't have glue smeared across your glasses.
Yeah, I'm the only one with decent eyesight here.
Yeah, it's not that much. I got most of that glue.
It's all right. Yeah.
I actually did.
We should explain to people at home. You crushed your.
I didn't crush. I was just like adjusting my glasses and they broke in half. It was Nox's fault, to be honest.
You're so strong. You have superhuman strength, like Clark Kent level strength, that you actually broke your own glasses.
I barely even moved them, and it just snapped in half. And I
for all that superhuman strength, you still won't go to the gym with those.
All right. Anyway, so they ban out Templars. They tried to make me go earlier, and I bailed.
They tried to force you.
I bailed.
Oh, you're such a slacker.
I really am.
You're like the Medusa of the game.
What do you like for the offlane?
For Thunder here?
Yeah.
I quite like the Underlord.
Oh, the Underlord versus Luna.
I like the Underlord
about that.
Yeah.
They want a deep push, is what that tells me.
Yeah.
They really want deep push to be able to deal with Vici, to be able to stall out the game for this Dusa.
I think Underlord is probably one of the best offlaners against Luna as well.
Yeah.
Good percentage-based damage against Tide Owner. It's kind of annoying.
The team fight is pretty damn minimal on Thunder still.
Yeah, I still think they're going to get run over by Vici Gaming.
I do
and
too.
I haven't even seen the last pick.
I'm on board with you.
Where do we go then? Last pick.
I'll get OD or something.
Yeah.
Like I think you can actually get kind of a scaling core. No, you're right.
Terrible.
Or Tinker.
Tinker. Yeah, that was another one I was thinking before.
It's like it's the Tinker OD last picks, and it's like such a trend right now because they're like a Terrorblade 4th pick or something you have to deal with.
And they have
to pick
Kunkka So we've got Tinker.
Oh, no.
By X that Conka, he's got no risk. Now you can blink in aggressively, get your spells off, and he X's you back in the fights, even in like mid-game too. It is very, very powerful combo if they're able to utilize it. So for me, I'm also going to go with Cap. I'm definitely with the VG.J. I think their 5-man's really strong to deal with that Night Stalker. I don't think Deuce is going to have time to get online.
It's amazing what a last pick can do.
You mean the way that Thunder picked Underlord and we're not happy with it? Yes, you are correct.
Ruined their complete draft from one pick. Right, it's time to head over to our commentary team for game number 2. It is the battle of the Vicis. Who's coming out on top? Let's find out.
Thanks very much, Red Eye. Yes, indeed. I'm ODPixel. I'm here with Trent. We're ready for this bit of action coming up between the Vicis, as you say.
Yes.
And I'm excited to see these two. So we've got two teams that recently they've had, their own sort of relatively good showings.
Yeah, they look good, right? Vici Gaming almost won Captain's Draft. Extremely close. A little bit of a shocker. You can almost say that they lost that series 4-1. Really felt like they're going to beat Secret. And then VGJ Thunder did successfully take Galaxy Battles against EG, which was impressive. I don't think that series, because EG just 2-0'd them before in the bracket, and then they have to come back and play them again, and they just sweep them like that. You're like, okay, these guys, they know some stuff. So I don't know. I'm not sure who will come out. We should say that VG.J, VG Junior. So theoretically, VG should be kind of cracking the whip here. Be like, this is the junior team.
It always feels weird, doesn't it, when the team that's not sort of the adult team of the organization doesn't win. So we'll see. The hero picks, of course, that we've had. Anything that sort of surprised you from the draft between these two teams?
I guess it kind of felt like maybe there was an opportunity for VGJ Thunder to perhaps go a little bit quicker near the end of the draft, maybe. But we'll see as we settle on in. I'm looking forward to the Underlord, see how he does. Felt like they needed some wave clear, so that looked pretty good. Should help them kind of keep control of that game. VGJ Thunder, I thought one of the best things that they were able to do during that grand final against EG was the movements during the map. Like when everyone's in fog and you have that guessing game of just like you're smoking and then like, okay, I think they're smoking, let's get back in our base, and then you try to do the same movement. They were trading completely one-on-one with EG, like always reading that exact very nice movement, which is an impressive thing to see in a team that we don't obviously haven't seen too much success with here. So we'll see if they get that kind of same good reads of the map throughout this one.
There we go, as we get ourselves into the action at this best of one. VGJ Thunder up against Vici Gaming themselves. We'll see if we see anything surprising coming out from the lanes. I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy, are we? As you said yourself, VGJ Thunder having sort of a very sort of reserved lineup, a lineup that can stall the game, look to take it late, potentially with the Deucer, and Vici Gaming themselves maybe wanting to speed things up a little bit. Tinker coming through as the final pick as well.
And it's not too all-in, because they have the Tinker. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they themselves can certainly keep the game going. I mean, if the game does end up going and going, is there... And you've got this sort of Luna versus Medusa. Do you think there's someone that's a little bit happier in sort of that later game position?
It's hard to tell, right? Because Luna definitely takes the buildings faster. Yeah. So that is one thing, that if you win that really important fight, especially with Ravage, that can always be one of those key abilities that you just dominate. Like 3 heroes go down, get this great setup, maybe the cask starts to bounce and the ghost ships come flying through. And if everyone's dead on the side of VGJ Thunder, you can just lose the Ravage instantly because of paparazzi here on the Luna.
Looking for the runes here, trying to maintain control, and DJ Young Lemon at the moment will be alone on that bottom lane on the Tide, trying to deal with this Rubik and Razor that's going to head down to there. And I mean, with the Rubik and Razor, the Tide's he's got to be careful down there. Like, this is a lane where he can certainly take quite a bit of a punch.
Definitely got a little bit of the musical lanes. Everyone's trying to scout out. You can see that pretty deep observer ward there from the Radiant 2 up top. So they're just kind of spotting exactly who's going to be where and trying to get the matchups that they wanted. And overall, it looks good for them. Underlord should be relatively okay. They're going to pressure him early as much as possible. Hasn't even taken like the attribute or anything quite yet either. So no reduced damage here from those harassers.
So they are going to bring a third hero up here as well, Lanham, as they do look to proceed onto Yang. The two of them running them down at the moment. Has got the first point in X mark to try and have that extra bit of control, dragging him back, but not really had too much to follow him up for. They have the paralyzing cask, and they do try and time it nicely so it gets the multiple bounces off the creep, but indeed not quite enough damage to bring down even a level 1 Underlord, very tanky.
Oh yes, and Knoxville here bringing out a classic combo, the Kunkka and Tinker.
That was some, I remember seeing that with loads of NA games. Like there were NA teams that were doing the whole You just sit in base as the Kunkka. That is your life, and you protect the Tinker every time. We'll see if it does get to that point. There could be a period of the game where we do sort of see Lanham just AFK in the fountain, going for the strat.
But I mean, if there's anyone on Kunkka who I don't want to do that,
sure,
it's got to be Lanham. You know, he's probably the most noteworthy
given
one.
in that position. I mean, I'll be a bit dumbfounded if they do that. I imagine he's just going to keep himself active on that bottom lane, as we were expecting to see. You know, they have got this control with the static link. It does allow the right click to build up, but at the same time, it's got the smash. You can
level 1 on the link too. It can be a little bit tough, but it's all about the harass. They burned a ton of the region of the Underlord. He's definitely unhappy up there, and then they're just trying to do the same thing to the Tide Hunter at bottom. Yang only left with 2 tangos here.
Bounty!
Oh, looks like Young 11 did snag that bounty rune though, so AO.
He'll get his in return. Okay. Young 11 will find the Arcane Rune though. By the looks of it. We'll see if he's able to stick around and keep harassing. Does have a couple of tangos left to continue to regen back up. He'll stick around down towards bottom. CS at the moment, got the Razor, take the lead, 13 for 6. Paparazzi on the Luna just slightly behind, 10 for 5. And the mid lane matchup at the moment,
not going too hot.
Yeah.
It's okay, Tinker's starting to climb back a little bit there though. We saw the supports were starting to rotate in, but they didn't end up going, so. But yeah, level 4, gets his wave into the tower now, so see how Ori does this game here.
If they get any chance to press that Tinker early, he's trying to slow down his boost of travel pickup. Is of course going to make the game a lot easier for VG.J Thunder.
I like when Sylar has been playing like this Dragonite. I found that has been probably his best hero. It was banned out this game.
Classic, yeah.
But one thing that is nice about it is that in terms of being like a veteran on this team compared to a lot of the other players, it's kind of cool that he's able to lead a lot with that Dragonite. You know, he gets that early Shadow Blade, he sets up a lot of the different fights and everything throughout that whole mid game. It won't be able to do that on the Medusa, so someone else have to be more of a stepping up into those initiating roles here.
Well, they come up here again. VG, they do have their sort of the full tri lane trying to go on Yang, but it's a very hard kill to go for. As soon as any sort of backup comes in, they have to back away. Bottom lane though, it's going to be where VG.J Thunder find the better charge. Young 11. The actual own creep there, by the way, blocking the vision, but they do finally manage to get themselves round the corner, get the first blood for the Razor. Top lane at the same time though, the trade will be found as Tide is taken out. So both off laners to fall.
Young 11 almost delayed that enough that Yang would have been the first blood. That would have been pretty amazing, actually. But not quite. So
purely intentional play, I'm sure. Blocking himself behind the enemy creep. And there we go. Looking for that 4-minute rune.
Yeah, finally nighttime here for Fade as well. But much like earlier on, we had that bounty hunter from Secret. Didn't see a lot of success in the earliest parts of the game because he was against like it was like an Ogre and an Elder Titan. This game, the Kunkka, very similar, pretty tanky guy to try and harass down. And I guess the Witch Doctor would be his best target. But traditionally, teams have often picked this Witch Doctor against the Night Stalker. Feels pretty safe. Has the heal. He can throw the cast down if you're trying to dive the tower, and that could be disastrous for Night Stalker +1 trying to use that early aggression. So hopefully we'll see if they can actually get a kill onto that Luna. Try and buff up this Night Stalker a little bit. Perhaps pressure the Tinker a bit more. He's got some work to do here in these 4 minutes.
We'll see where Fade does indeed head. Maybe hoping for an attempt on the Tide once again. If he was to come out a little too far, but he's playing it safe, keeping it back. Lanham.
I like that too.
Sitting behind the Tinker.
Yeah, he understands, right? Night Stalker, if there's anyone he wants to kill, it's this guy. So I'm just going to camp here a little bit. We don't have a very good kill potential on Sylar, but it's not like I have so much value to add anywhere else anyway.
There we go. We're looking for a bit of an aggressive move onto Young 11 here as they're ready to dive forward. They've got the grab. Not going to commit
was
though.
On CD, I think, too. Yeah. He had just used it on Young 11, so ends up just being a harassing play.
A little awkward that. Maybe a bit of miscommunication. Didn't realise that they didn't have that link available once again. Top lane, Maledict is going to do a lot here to Yang. Paparazzi diving in, trying to make sure he has enough damage for the procs of the Maledict to kill him. He's got the stick charges, and that will mean that Yang does survive. Bottom lane again, Kama in a very awkward position as they did come in deep for a dive. Lanham turns up. With that VG.J Thunder will have to maneuver themselves back away from that tower. So, well, both teams trying for these aggressive plays, but proving hard to actually get away with the kill itself, as we do still sit at the 1-1 market, so coming up to the 6-minute mark.
Yeah, it feels like the supports are going to be very underleveled this game. I don't think anyone has cracked into 4 yet from the supported cast here, and Fade's actually still stuck at 2.5 as well, so it'll be interesting to see just how much they can actually get done. 6-minute bounty run will be still. I mean, this is the way you got to get experience, right? You have all these tanky laners that are so hard to be ganked, so you got to get all these bounty runes, and he'll pay for it this time.
A nice little bit of a bounty kill for Ori to pick up, taking down the Rubik. help him on that way. So that key crucial boost of travel time. Yang in the jungle, he's been found out. The Maledict's on him, but he was already pretty low, so not a lot of damage being done at all by the Maledict. So we'll get him away from the camp that he was trying to farm up. Will be pinged out, of course. Maybe VG Gaming will be able to head over there at some point and take it. Good few ways of clearing out some of these stack camps.
Yeah, could use some stacks here for Ori. 3 points in the March now, so definitely looking to start accelerating here, and that'll be our battle of this game. The Tinker and the Medusa. Yeah, it definitely could.
Long one.
In that sense, though, in terms of like stack management and everything, certainly an advantage to Vici, where they have the Luna and the Tinker to abuse that. On the side of VG.J Thunder, you know, Razor, he farms pretty quick. He can definitely contest Ancient Stacks too very well with his ultimate, even early on in the game. We saw that a lot, just like last year when Razor was being more popular. So we'll see if they actually get some good vision on those Ancient Stacks, perhaps, and get something done there. But for now, we're just chilling. Everyone's just hanging out. You know, down 11, he's just farming a camp. He's got nothing else to do with his life. Fade, very unsuccessful for a first nighttime as a Night Stalker. But that's kind of the story of this hero now, ever since the nerfs to Hunter of the Night.
We go though, down bottom, another attempt onto Young 11. They have the ultimate here from Kama. They continue to chase down, and that should provide enough damage. Indeed it does to take the kill. At the same time though, top lane Lanham has the torrent set up onto Sylar. They're trying to move the Luna in for the ultimate. The paralyzing cast as well, getting a good few bounces. They have the X mark to drag Sylar back in under the cover of the Eclipse, and Sylar will be taken down. Fade now back to Bayayo as VG.J Thunder look for the reaction. Torrent holds back both of them. Kama's been brought in as well. They're looking to try and find something in return for losing their carry, and should find Lanham here. So they chase him down with the static link. They'll look to try and X back Fade, but already the damage is done, and Kama will get the kill. So again, these rotations, VG themselves, they're a little happier with the situation as they do manage to bring down Sylar and they keep Paparazzi alive.
Yeah, he's on a spree now on that Razor too, so he's just cracking up over 3,800 net worth. A rich little lad there, so very happy for the side of VG.J Thunder. You need down this Razor too, because you know they want to roam us forward, they want to make stuff happen, try and put some pressure on the map, give more space to the Medusa, and that's the kind of start that he's going to need on that hero. And it's already begun there. You can see Ori in the jungle doing his stacks there over on the mini-map. But they'll try and pressure into Paparazzi here after not getting that kill. Sure, they'd love to kind of keep it up on him there.
Young 11 is coming in with some heavy harass on Sylar, taunting and all. Let's be a little careful. Fade is there. As I say, the night is over. Here's daytime, limited. Ways that Fade could do much about this tide.
Desperately hoping for some experience. I mean, typically as like support players, your goal is to get both supports 6 at level 10. That's like the dream. And it definitely still happens. You know, one support kind of gets there on their own through ganks and everything, and the second support just buys the tome. But this game, everyone is just a little bit behind here.
Nice little juke there from Kama as the torrent attempt was made, but he's able to juke it out. They now look to turn on to Fenrir, but the barrel tick down the paralyzing cast is already out. Bounces between the three of them quite perfectly, but they don't have the follow-up control or quite enough damage. Paparazzi was silent, so couldn't really get the Lucent Beam off early enough. So VG.J getting themselves away once again, as both teams proving to be relatively durable.